Good morning. So nice to have you join us today. We're going to begin the show today with kind of part home maintenance and part a philosophy lesson, because as you go through life, you end up being told that the happiness about life is all in the perspective that you bring to it, right? So we had a catastrophe, pretty close to it, hit our house the week of the snow when it was so cold, but I think our perspective was right. And so we were happy in the end, courtesy of Jake Self and Happy Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So can I tell the story?
Absolutely.
Do you care?
No, go for it.
Okay, so it's the week of the snow when it was so terribly cold. And like everybody else in town, we were freezing and cuddled up by the fire. Wednesday morning, when it was the 8-degree day, Mark and I were sitting there, and all of a sudden our house went quiet downstairs. And I said, uh-oh, I think our heat's gone out. Cut to the chase, yes, our heat had gone out, and neighbors on our Facebook page were having similar problems, but theirs began to come back on. So about 2 o'clock on this frigid day, we called Hiller, and much to my surprise, y'all had somebody out like 2 hours later. I could not believe it. I got a text from Jake, who didn't know it was me. And because as a customer, you're going to get that response. And I said, hey, this is Julie, by the way. And he said, oh, I thought that was you. And then like any other customer, you treated me and you had somebody else. So now I'll be quiet and you can finish the story.
So this is where we talk a lot here on the show of we want you guys to maintain your unit. And what I've grown to think now is if we didn't call it routine maintenance, because people say, yeah, it's routine, yeah, I'll get to it. What if we call it a safety check? What if I told you that every fall I want to come out and do a safety check on your furnace? Mm-hmm. Would people take it a little differently? And when it came to this particular unit, safety is a big key component on, thankfully, the safety switches worked. And Julie's call was, I just lost my heat, when it could have been a lot worse. And what ended up happening is the heat exchanger failed. And when we go out and do our routine checks, we have specialty cameras that go into the inside of these pipes to check for cracks.
So you would have seen this?
Yes. Yep.
And then you said, thankfully, it was my heat's out and not that my safety unit is faulty, because what would have happened if the safety mechanism wasn't working?
Carbon monoxide would have been in your house.
Wow.
Yep.
So, okay, here's something else that was surprising to me, though, as the story goes along. So what is this called?
We just cut apart the heat exchanger because it's roughly about 50 pounds and it's a 2x2 square.
Okay.
So just to make it easier for us and the viewers, we just cut it apart so we could look at it.
So the part has a 20-year warranty on it.
This one did, yes.
And I don't think my unit is about 10 years old.
Right.
So is that just odd? Was this thing perhaps faulty from the beginning?
There could have been a manufacturer issue, but also one thing that we come to realize that we're in a hurry when a customer is without heat, without cooling, and we rush and put a new unit in. So maybe this unit was put in the cooling season, so we weren't worried about the heat. We wanted to make sure you had cooling. And did the person who installed this unit, did they check the heating? Because there's gas pressures that need to be adjusted to make sure that it is running correctly.
Okay.
You could have an underfire, overfire that could cause these issues.
So here's the other thing that happened in my little miracle story. So this part, because it was a 20-year warranted part. So Jake then calls my husband, or somebody called my husband, was it you? Mm-hmm. Okay, and said, okay, there's good news and bad news. The great news is your part is under warranty. The bad news is it's on back order until the summer, but they didn't give up and they kept on calling, and you found the part. So
Yes.
I got it for the warranty.
We ended up finding the part, and like always, when there's a demand on parts. So thankfully this time we were able to get it a little bit sooner, but you were still without heat on that unit for roughly a week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks. Yeah.
So if we could have caught this earlier, maybe you would have had heat then.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But.
We had to fight Marmalade the cat over who got closer to the fireplace. We were very grateful that we had that. So in all seriousness, though, on these maintenance checks, so the safety checks, as we'll call them now, twice. So go ahead and get on the schedule for spring.
People should. Spring, if you feel like there is some cold spots in your house or you don't think it's quite doing what it should,
Go ahead and
let's
do it now.
check it in heat right now too.
Okay, so twice a year,
Yep.
anytime.
Yep.
Is what you
Yeah,
recommend.
we would love to do it before the demand of heat and before the demand of summer, but we know everybody's schedule gets busy, and
Okay.
when we remember it, we call.
Okay, so for me, you were there in January. So does that mean I'm good now until the fall, or do I
No.
need to have a
No, it's coming May.
come in May?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you do this kind of introspective work on other things too? Because it is Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we have diagnostic cameras when it comes to your sewer lines. We have cameras that'll check for heat spots within your panel, and then we have cameras that look for these holes, cracks, crevices in your heat exchangers, and digital gauges to check pressures and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I can't imagine what it was actually temperature-wise in my house, because the 2 weeks later when the weather had warmed up and we got the heat working, it said 59 degrees. So I don't know what it really was,
Right.
that bitter cold week, but thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. You can be happy too with Happy Hiller. Lee Highway is their location, but your home is going to be their office. 481-9180, online, happyhiller.com.
Feels good to be home.
Ashley's President's Day mattress sale is going on now. For a limited time, get a free adjustable base with a qualifying mattress purchase. Plus, save up to $800 on select adjustable mattress sets. Only at Ashley.
Local 3 School Patrol, keeping you